Texas farmers market world and dear friends here today. So yes, I'm Becky and I'm the owner and operator of Verdant Farm here in the beautiful Lost Pines of Bastrop, Texas. We are still a young farm. We are 3 years old, and right now we are completely female owned and operated, which is also really amazing. Really proud to be here. So verdant just means like really lush and like green and like bountiful, and I just took all the vowels out because it's the 21st century and I wanted to be found on the internet. So that's where our name came from. We're trying to live up to it, keeping things really lush and green. I was lucky to be able to get this property from another farmer who was retiring, previously Phoenix Farms. So that kind of gave us some inertia in getting started. But yes, we've been here 3 years now, and we grow diversified vegetables for the farmers market, as well as a CSA program and some wholesale. So yeah. Could be right now, but some really cool small scale efficiencies. I love our wash table, which is on wheels, so it allows us to be like really mobile, set things up as we want to. We have our DIY green spinner here. This is our big tank for baby greens.
Oh, I love
so we
this.
wash them in here. And then this is basically
that's amazing.
A spinner that I have retrofitted from a washing machine. And so, we just, it's all hardwired now. So you just flip the switch and this starts spinning, and then these crab pots, are sanitized and can be, switched out. So this makes the greens washing and drying process a lot faster for us. And then this is all of our stainless steel, surfaces for bagging everything to go to markets and stuff. So, very simple, but this is what works for small scale stuff here. And they go straight into the cooler. So that's just kind of our basic wash and pack here. We run it all with the CoolBot system. So instead of expensive HVAC systems, we use AC units and CoolBots. So yeah, we have 3 of these spaces, and that's how we keep our CSA. We run year-round. We're the only farm that I know of that runs year-round CSA. And the reason that we're able to do that is because we grow a huge amount of storage crops in the spring and in the fall. So things like cabbages, carrots, beets, daikon radishes, potatoes, onions. We bulk that stuff in the coolers, and then during the hottest part of the summer, when it's mostly just like okra and eggplant, like we put in a lot of those carrots and beets to keep it fresh. And same in the deep winter when we only have like lettuce and spinach, we're pulling out cabbage and a lot of those storage crops. So having the cooler spaces allows us to basically serve our customers year round. So we've got mostly alliums in here right now. We've transplanted most everything. We're kind of mid-season now. But so we use regular 128 trays that you can see here. But we also use these really cool paper pot trays. So these are actually like a paper chain that will pull out. Let me find the right edge of this. And so we have a little handheld machine that basically makes a trench and pulls these out into the trench. And so it just really saves us a lot of time and labor for transplanting really closely spaced crops. So scallions is one of the crops. We do this with scallions, lettuce, bok choy, like lots of stuff that makes it really close. And it just helps us streamline the production on those, and those tend to be more of our wholesale crops. Things like scallions, lettuces, things that, we can grow in a dense space and do pretty efficiently. So yeah, I know you can't get spring onions in the fall because they're spring, but a lot of that has to do with onions are very like day length specific, but I found an exciting onion that is not day length specific. It's day length neutral, and so we're doing a first ever experiment of spring onions in the fall. So I really hope it works. Stay tuned at market. So we've got cabbage, broccoli, all kinds of basically cabbage, Chinese cabbage, purple cabbage, cone cabbage, loads of different types of broccolis. So we're doing like sprouting broccoli, like broccolinis, as well as like head broccolis. So it's coming definitely in like the next month. I mean, some of these plants are so big they might even be, not quite, but I would definitely say within the month we're gonna have broccoli. since I shanked the drip tape, I also just think it's nice that it doesn't blow around. It doesn't get nicked by hand tools or harvest. Same thing with like osmosis. You can germinate a lot of stuff on drip tape without sprinklers, just because when the drip tape's like on top of the soil, if you think about it, it's dripping down and then it's like fanning out underneath the soil. But if it's underneath the soil, then osmosis is actually fanning out as it gets to the surface, if that makes sense. So then you can have an evenly wet surface, and you can germinate things direct seed with drip tape, which is much more water efficient than sprinklers. So oh yeah. Whoa,
that is beautiful.
That is a beauty.
That is like a beet color.
Yeah. So it's these beautiful Japanese purple sweet potatoes. They actually have a white flesh and they're really sweet. So yeah, I describe our growing practices as bio-intensive, which basically just means we're biologically driven, not chemically driven. All of my inputs that I'm using, you know, things for nutrition, anything for spraying, it's all organic certified, but I just have not gone through the process of certification because it's a lot of money and it's basically there to build trust between me and my customer, but I feel like I already have pretty good trust, so it just hasn't been really worth it for me to go through the process. But yes, basically this land is so beautiful. We're surrounded by like wild woods and all these amazing ecosystems. So I really just see it as my job as to like not screw up the balance I was blessed to kind of farm with. We have amazing biodiversity here. I'm always seeing, you know, predators, and we have aphids, and then ladybugs come right after. So for me, I feel like my job is to just like not screw it up. A lot of what we do is preventative. So every single week we're spraying neem and garlic as prevention. And, you know, a lot of times people say like, oh, that stuff doesn't work. It's like, well, are you using it after there's a problem, or are you using it before? And a lot of kind of that stuff, you know, the neem, the garlic, it is mild anti-feedants, you know, so that the caterpillars don't want to munch on stuff, and it does build up with the plants. And so we've found that basically doing things preventatively and focusing on biological resilience has been like a good method for us. Since we're growing on sand, you guys probably know that sand has a bad rap. And it's really just that sand, the surface area on sand is actually not very much. It would get into a lot of chemistry, but it's not a great place for chemical reactions to happen. It's like a very small bank account. It doesn't have much capacity to hold on to like a lot of nutrients for a long growing season. So what I do in response to that is actually injecting nutrients. So this looks very basic. It's a Mazzy injector. There's literally no moving parts in it. There's like a ball inside of this. That's like literally all. It works through a pressure differential with suction. But basically what we do is we inject nutrients out into the field, because that's the one thing that we have everywhere is drip tape. And so instead of trying to give our crops all the nutrients that they need before we plant it out and hope that those nutrients don't leach out or, you know, get stolen by weeds or whatever, we do put nutrient down pre-plant, but we inject a lot through the injector system as well. And this really helps. So I think of myself, I'm not hydroponic, but I think of myself on the spectrum, because we are thinking in that way of like fertigating out a lot of nutrients. And again, everything we use is organic. You see our big barrels of fish emulsion, so that's a lot of what we're getting out to the plants is fish emulsion. But they like it and it works. And you know, sand has its upsides as well. It's easy to pull sweet potatoes out with your raw hands. I couldn't do that in clay. And so, you know, it's not an insurmountable challenge, but you know, it's just a good demonstration of like every farm system has to be like a conversation and a relationship with a landscape. You know, it's not like a one size fits all. You can farm the same way everywhere, you know, in another soil type, different crops, different nutrient management strategies would be appropriate. But for sand, this is how we make it work, and we grow some honkin' vegetables, so it's working. Customers want, but I definitely lean towards growing a lot more Asian varieties, because you know, that's just really like comforting and like the food that I remember just like loving growing up. So watermelon radishes, daikon radishes, red turnips, Chinese cabbage, long beans, I mean all top soy, bok choy, all these are Asian vegetables, you know, I can't help it. I don't know, like culture in Asia that I really appreciated was just like food is so revered. Like in China, you go over to someone's house and you bring them like a box of perfect oranges. And so I feel like from a really young age, there's just this like reverence of like food, you know, as this like gift and like something really beautiful. And so like, you know, that so like means a lot to me. Like